In this video, we will learn about nested conditional statement. Means it is called as nested if. What does it mean? Let us learn that first. Then I will show you a program on that one. So let us see nested if. See here, this is a conditional statement. From here to here is if block and here to here is an else block. So this is an if statement, else statement. So if and else block. Inside if, again there is if and else block. Can we write like this? Yes, you can write. Depends on your problem, depends on your requirement, right? So inside if also you can have its own, again, if and else, if required. And also inside else also you can write. Yes. Achha, one more thing. Can I write again if inside this? Yes, you can write if and else up to any nested level. So this is supported by C++. So that's it. In some cases, we need to write nested conditional statements like this. And most of the time, it happens to be here inside else block rather than if block. Mostly it will be inside else block. If so and so, else, in else again if so and so. So we write like this. So we will be using this type of conditional statement many times in our program. So we will come across them, right? So that's all about nested if. Now I have an example. So let us take an example and use nested if statements for writing a program. So for that already I have a flowchart here. So let me take example and explain you about the flowchart and the problem. Then I will write a program. Let us write a program for finding greatest of three numbers. Suppose I have three numbers as input A, B, C. I have this input. I want to find out who is having greatest number. Actually, these are three variables. In which variable we have greatest number? So let us check it. If suppose this is having value 10 and this is having value 2, 5 and this is 3, then which is greater? A. How do you say A is greater among all? Because A is greater than B as well as A is greater than C. So when A can be greater, it should be greater than B also. It should be greater than C also. Then we can say A is greater. So it means if A is greater than B as well as means and A should be greater than C, then who is greater? A is greater, right? A is greater. Just I'll write down here. It's not a C++ code. So if suppose A is not having 10, A is having value 2, then what happens? Check this. A is greater than B. A itself is not greater than B and it's not greater than C. First of all, it's not greater than B. That is false. So this is false. And even if this is true, then it fails. But this is also false. So if A is 4, then this is false and this is true. This will be true. Then what is the result of AND? You know, we have learned about this, right, in logical operators. So false and true is false. So A is not greater. Then who is greater? If A is not greater, then two are remaining. Who are those? B and C. So either B is greater or C is greater. Let us compare them. So afterwards, else, if B is greater than C, then B is greater, right? B is greater. And in this also else, C is greater. Just I am writing pseudocode like thing, right? It's not a program. So if A is greater than both, then A is greater. Otherwise, B or C can be greater. So if B is greater than C, we don't have to compare it with A now. Just B with C among two. One is gone, right? One is gone. A is gone, right? It's not greater. So the who are remaining? B and C. If B is greater than C, B is greater. Otherwise, C is greater. So this is how we can check the greatest of three numbers. So already I have a flowchart here. Enter three numbers A, B, C, and here I am checking if A is greater than B as well as A is greater than C. If true, this should be true. If true, then print A and stop. Else means if this is false, then what is possible? B is greater than C. If B is greater than C, then print B and then stop if this is true. Else, if not, then who is greater at last? C is greater and stop. So there are two conditional statement, then again conditional statement. So let us see how to write on this in a C++ program. So I will write on a program here. So here is a program. I have a main function already written partially. I have three variables because we need three variables. Then enter three numbers, then read scene A, B, C. We are reading three values, right? Now, I have to write down the conditional statements. If A is greater than B and A is greater than C, then I have to print, that is C out, just A. So actually I am not giving a message, just I am displaying a greater number, that's all. So on the screen only number will appear. Next, else. Inside else, again check if B is greater than C. If so, C out, B, else, C out, C. Now one more thing I have to explain you here. See, inside this else we have if and else. So there are no flower bracket because these are single statements. Now if just inside else, if is there, just after else, only separated by flower bracket, then we can write down this if followed by this one also. B is greater than C, then here I can say C out, B, right? And finally here I can write else and say C out, C. So this will be a nested if statement only. You can even write like this. So if I read now, if A is greater than B and A is greater than C, else if B is greater than C, else print C. So this is how we can write nested conditional statement, that is nested if. Alright. So there is a coding exercise for this one. So you have to write down these conditional statements in that coding exercise. Only this portion you have to write on, that is print this one or this one or this one, any one of these. Then there are more coding exercises. You have to solve them by yourself, all right? And the description is given in detail, just you study it, right? So it's not a complex problem, it is a simple problem. Read the question and understand it and solve it. And if you can't solve it, just give a message, I will reply you back. And there is a demo available for this one, so watch it and write the program by yourself on your machine, practice it. Coding exercise is just to make you feel confident on the topic and confirm that you have understood the topic. So that's all in this video.